why those things happen to me. Could I have a better life? Our guest today are going to over and put some thoughts about that, make us reflect a little bit. And our guest today is Tania Schwartz. Well, I'll tell you, she is the president of the United States Spiritist Federation. But the most important thing is she's a relentless worker in the Spiritism, in the teachings of the Spiritism. I think you've been a spirit since a child in this incarnation,
Yeah.
right? This incarnation at least. She's one of the founders of the Kardec Spirit Society of Austin. She came here especially today to be with us, to make this public study. And she works, I don't know, almost every day in the house in Kardec of Austin, and also for the Federation. So we're very glad to have you today here. As we know, I would like to acknowledge too, I don't know if they're guests, but Federico, Fred, and Janine here, they live in College Station. They're from Espírito Santo in Brazil. Cool name, right? Espírito Santo, but they're here. Also brought us some studies today and they're visiting. And everybody else, for the first time they're coming here, or not the first time, be welcome. We always had an initial prayer, opening prayer, and a closing prayer. For our opening prayer today, I'm going to call Raquel. Please.
My dear friends, let's close our eyes. Let's feel this beautiful vibration that is all around us, provided to us by the spiritual guides of this house, for our own spiritual guides. And together, we feel that we are here with a higher purpose, that we are here to learn, to know each other, and we feel in our hearts gratitude, a deep gratitude for this moment, for this opportunity, and together we elevate our thoughts to our Father, to Jesus, our Master, our Brother, and we ask blessings for our meeting today. We ask that Tania can be in close contact with the divine, with her spiritual guide, and that she can teach us about life. So, with serenity, we start, and so be it.
So be it. Thank you, Raquel. So let's welcome Tania. We're folding here in our best thoughts. Tania.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Nice to see a lot of familiar faces. We feel at home, right? We've been here, and I met a lot of you last year at the symposium in Houston. This year will be in Porto, but that's a different subject. Thank you so much for this opportunity, because we're going to be talking about a subject that I think it is extremely important in a time that now so many people are doubting the value of life. We do hear a lot of bad news. We hear they're there in this world, right? And we tend to focus on the bad news. This is still our nature, but not forever. So today we're going to bring the focus to somewhere else. Not just being positive, just to be positive, but to realize that things are really under control. They're not a chaotic situation like sometimes we feel, right? And also that life is very valuable, very valuable. It goes beyond this, right? Also, for us to get there, we need to look into the real meaning of life. Cannot be just what sometimes we get a little lost, right? Oh, we need to do this. Let's see if I will. Okay. Bad start. It's very easy for us. Is this working? It's very easy for us to think of our material lives because it's very concrete. This is what we, yeah, okay, I was pressing up. It's very concrete, so it's easy. We plan from day one in our lives. We plan, our parents planned, and we keep working on things that are important, right? We work on our education. We plan our professions. After all, we need to make a living. This is part of life. We need to pay the bills. We have the material bodies. We need to buy clothes. We need to eat. We need to be in good shape, right? So, yeah, it's a part of it. Eventually, we might want to, start a family. That's also part of our dreams here. Or we also think of our health. Our bodies need to be taken care of. And also we'd love to have a perfect body, right? According to the society. This fat here and there is not the ideal, but that's what we want. We do think of those things. Some worry about the wrinkles that are coming, right? And things like that. Because this is very easy for us to get to. Our material life is what we normally try to measure success all the time because it's our everyday. Okay, and we measure our lives on earth, or most of us do, by things like that. The titles, the material conquests, or failures, or we call that way. Titles, power, money. Well, these are not bad. Nobody's talking against this because, we can help others with money. We don't need to accumulate them. It's just the use of it, right? We can give jobs to people. These are okay. I'm not talking in a bad way, but this is not all. That's when we focus on this only, that's start being a little complicated. But when I look at the dictionary, the definition of the word life, that's one example, right? Vocabulary.com. I just got one example. Look at the way that they focus on the material life. The organic phenomenon that distinguishes living organisms from non-living ones. Oh, it's just distinguished from rocks, from, the mineral world. Okay, good, right? Yeah, we have life. We breathe. Okay, the experience of being alive, the course of human events and activities. And look at this last one. The period during which something is functional as between birth and death. That's life. Is it? Are we reduced to that? No, we are not, right? But not everybody thinks that way. A lot of people will buy this, right? And then those successes, they become a huge thing, right? If I'm not successful those ways we talked before, it's a big problem. It's not worth it if I don't get it. But when I think beyond that, we think like we learn in Spiritism. Who are we? We are spirits, right? All spirits. And what are spirits according to the Spirit's book? Intelligent beings of the creation, right? There is even a question there. You can double check afterwards, right? We are intelligent beings. And more than that, we are immortal. So that means that what we have here dies, right? But not the spirit. But this is one thing. We are spirit that now we happen to be incarnated. It's not like I have a spirit somewhere and this is my body, right? No, we are this. Actually, we have three parts when we are incarnated. Some of us here know we are spirits that now are incarnated in a body, and we have our perispirit that envelopes, semi-material envelopes our spirit and connect one to another. But that's a whole different topic. Just to remind us that we are this one. And what dies is only the body. Life starts getting a little more interesting because it's not only what we saw before. And gets even better when we go beyond and we see that not only we are immortal, but you're always progressing. We were created by God, simple and with lack of knowledge. I was going to say ignorant, but a lack of knowledge, right? And God is so great that we are perfectible. So we are simple, we start that way, everybody the same, and we keep learning. We keep perfecting ourselves through what? The material life, the reincarnation. And we are destined to be perfect and to be happy as spirits, right? Let's pay attention at this happiness we are talking about, because sometimes the perception of what happiness is what causes us to be very down, very upset, not understand, like Antulio said, accepting what comes to us. But here we start to open up our minds and understanding that it goes beyond. So why are we on earth? To progress, right? These are the opportunities. So let's understand, we were talking about the intellectual, or intellectually, let's face it, like my lifetime, this lifetime, I've seen a lot of progress intellectually. The technology, all the things that we see around us, how many changes. We're doing good there, right? The intellectual. But that's not enough. We need to worry about the two, we call the two wings of evolution, the intellect and the moral. And then we are going to pass from this lower order that we are now, right, still, to all the way to be, can you read there? Pure spirits is the last phase there that it shows order of spirits. For us to go and pass, it takes a few reincarnations, right? We can go faster or slower, depends on us. We have our free will, right? We can make our own choices. Even that is a great thing that we learn about God, because then we know that God really trusts his creation. He lets us decide how we're going to lead our lives. And sometimes we are so unfair because something happens and we blame God. That's the first one. God, the providence, the neighbor, the husband, right? We blame someone, right? And we are the ones causing ourselves trouble. Okay, so talking about reincarnation, so we talked about it. We are one spirit that sometimes so one life as a spirit. So imagine like this, the line, and we go, every existence we go, come, incarnate the same spirit. Different name, different body, different story, because we need to learn new experiences. But that life is the same. Then we go back to the spirituality when the body dies. That life continues. We acquired some knowledge, we acquired some values, we acquired some morals, and then hopefully, right, we can just go through life like this, just coasting, right? Just as if we're on vacation, right? We're not on vacation. That's why sometimes we have some bumps on the road. But this is what we talk about. We go and whatever we acquire, we go back to the spirituality, and that life continues because it's endless, right? So we just accumulate a bunch of knowledge and morals. Does that make sense? So, look at how life now got a completely different aspect for us, different perspective. And we continue being who we are with those additions, right? But when we are in the spirituality, we have even a broader idea of who we are, what the planes are, and where, in those planes, where I want to get, like the GPS, right? We put the GPS, then God gave us the GPS. If you go to the Spirit's book, part 3, the moral laws, that's our GPS. If I'm not sure where to go, what to do, read it, right? That's where we know what to do to get there faster, to perfection. But what happens is, when on the other side, we might have a better view. And then some people will say, what do we do in the other side of life? Well, we do what we do here in hopefully studying, working, preparing ourselves to continue. We continue our evolution. There is no way. Evolution never stops. And then we come back. And sometimes we even have what? The possibility of making choices. And then when we look at where we want to get and where we are now, and we think, oh boy, if I make it slightly harder, I might go faster. Harder, why? Because I get some more to prove myself that I can do better, right? So some people say, did I ask for that difficult thing happen to my life? What was I thinking, right? I mean, it's crazy. Well, because when you see clearly what you want, say, okay, maybe I shouldn't have that perfect body there, because that might cause me to be more vain, more proud, I don't know, right? And forget the real sense in life, which is, but we like to complain, right? We're like, oh, my hair, I want it too curly because it's straight. Whoever has this straight hair wants curly. And then I want to be thinner, I want to be taller, I want to be this, I want to be that. We're never happy, right? But that is just little things. Because the real thing is, how are we doing with the things that are for us to learn? What do we learn? We learn patience. We learn tolerance, fraternity, forgiving. We know all those things, right? And even the younger people here have heard about it already, right? So, yeah, we need to work on those. And then when the tests come, then that's when we wonder and we don't want it. We feel like, oh, this life, like you said, life is so hard. I don't want this. Why? Why me? Oh, we love that. Why me? Right? Well, because that is what me, Tania, right? What I need in order to grow. When we take our kids to take a shot, and we know it's going to hurt, and we know they're going to cry, and they scream that they don't want to take it, but what am I looking at? Okay, my kid, despite the pain, despite everything that is important for her or his health, and we do, don't we? We parents, right? So that's the same with the divinity, right? The providence. So there are things that what they are looking at. We are spirits, so we have to grow as spirits. For us to grow as spirits, it doesn't matter if my body is this or that way, if I have a little health problem here and there, if I have some financial issues, because those are things that are teaching me how to become a better person, to help others in difficulty, to be less selfish, right? So those values are the ones that we are talking about. So when I decide what kind of body, what kind of family, all those things that before reincarnating, that means that I'm thinking of myself and my guardian angels or mentors, whatever name you want to give. They're helping me to say, you know what, this is too much, this is too little. They're kind of, consultants, right? To help us make better choices in the plan. That's the plan. Doesn't mean we'll do it because we have our free will. So that's another chapter, right, of our lives. First we plan, we do okay, maybe, and then we have to do it. And sometimes we don't. We have our free will, but we are going to answer. We can do whatever we want. That's clear. But we are going also through the law of cause and effect. Not a God that is pointing any fingers or punishing, not that. That God is not what we believe, right? But it's so perfect of God's laws that it's there, like the universe. Think about it. Everything's so perfect, right? If we go there and we do something to interrupt, to interfere, to make it wrong, well, I'm causing something and the effect will come, right? That's it, as simple as that. It's very easy to see our responsibility. So, how can reincarnation help us grow spiritually? We said that we are retested every time that we failed before. So that's what we call the expiations. Have you heard about expiations? Right? Those are things that come from the past. So sometimes we're going through something and we go, but what did I do for this to happen? I can't find the cause now. Well, there is a just cause. We don't like to think that way, and we don't go around with people that are suffering saying that either, because nobody likes to hear that. But we say it's just, God is just. Everybody agrees on that, right? That God is just. So if God is just, everything that happens has to be just. Otherwise, he would be unjust. Correct? So we learn new things. We talked about new knowledge, new experiences. And the fun thing is, again, it's so nice that it's like a fresh start. Every existence, I'm going to call existence because that's every time we are incarnated and reincarnated. That means that I don't remember what happened before, right? And some people say, why? I should remember. Maybe I'll do better. Boy, if I could remember everything that I did and everything that everyone did here, and I entered this room and I go, oh, how am I going even to talk to you about those things? I'm going to be embarrassed, right? Whatever I did, I don't know, thank God. Right? So this is a fresh start, but it's a fresh start with hints. We have tendencies. It's very easy. If we have some issue with somebody and the person didn't have any chance to do anything against me now, I'm not going to say, oh, she probably or he probably did something for me before. It's not that. There is some kind of energy there that we don't feel okay. But what do? What am I here for? To grow spiritually. So that's another chance. I don't remember, so I'm going to give another chance. That's why we are born in families that sometimes some people don't really do well with each other, right? If we're just blood, everybody would love everybody in a family. But no. Why? Because we come in that family sometimes because there are things to take care from before, right? And sometimes it's a spirit that is there for us to help each other. We're always there to learn how to love. That's the point. So those are the hints that we learn through, in Spiritism, that no matter what, no matter how I feel about someone, we're having a new opportunity. So let's not waste it. That's very important that we don't waste it. We are here to love. That's what Jesus came to teach us. Unconditionally. Unconditionally means no condition. There's no but. oh, I really am, but no, that's not what Jesus told us. He just said, yeah, we might not feel the same way towards everybody. Sure, right? Love our enemies. Okay, how? Well, let's at least not, wish anything bad to that person. Let's not be happy when we hear the person is having trouble. See, even Jesus helped us understand that we're working on this, but not give up and come up with comments that I'm not even going to say here, that very easily comes out of our mouth when there's somebody we don't like, gossips, stuff like that. That's not what if we want to work on our spiritual growth, we need really to pay attention at ourselves. So, everything, vicissitudes, right? Big word, but are problems, things that are not good, right? They have the cause, a just cause, because it comes, God is just, so anything that happens is just. So that's what we talked about. And we also talked about our tendencies, that we needed to pay attention. Our lives are filled with those moments of happiness and moments that are a little hard, right? When everything's really good, sometimes say, whoops, right? No, let's not do this. Let's really enjoy the moments, get the strength, give the value of those moments that they deserve, so that we're stronger for when things get a little out of place. But we're still working on ourselves. We're imperfect spirits. And that's not bad. Let's not punish ourselves. Let's just understand that our lives on earth still have some issues to deal with. Okay, sometimes we deal with physical issues, mental issues, right? We get depressed, we get sometimes very sad, sometimes there are situations in our lives, but we knowing that this is temporary, that we are working on that happiness we talked about, we feel stronger. And we'll continue making decisions every single moment, like you made the decision to be here, right? I made the decision to be here, to be studying, to be talking about these important things in our lives. We could be doing anything, make different decisions, right? And we do that all the time. It's definitely not something that we sometimes make the decision and then 5 minutes later something happens, we have to make a decision over the decision, right? It's like this. It's very dynamic, our lives. And every moment, how we make the best decisions when we connect. When we connect to the high spirits, the mentors, when we connect to God, to some people like some specific saints even, that's fine. Any good nature, right? Good energy. So basically, we elevate our thoughts to make the decision. Do we need to pray all the time? It's not the formal prayer, but it is a kind of prayer, right? When I'm going to go to a test in school, I studied first, of course, and then I go say, help me, like I did when I came here. Of course I prepared, but I asked God, please help me send this message in a way that touches people's hearts, right? That's a prayer, correct? We connect ourselves to make decisions, to use the right words, and not to get distracted from the main reason we are reincarnated. That's very easy to get distracted. There's so many wonderful material things that we can completely lose track of the main reasons we are here. We don't need to abdicate of our lives, our material lives. We need to give the values in the right place. Does that make sense? Right? It is to look at our lives in this broader way and how I'm living my life and say, and it does, and don't take me wrong, I'm not talking being just in the Spiritist Center. That's easy. Here, it's easy to be nice, right? To be with people that share the knowledge, the faith. Oh, that's good. The harder part is when we're out in the everyday, right? In traffic, at work, right? This is also, we have to be consistent to the things that we learn and we want to achieve everywhere, not get distracted. And when we are facing problems, there are situations that will make us lose the strength. And that's normal to a certain extent, but we are not alone. So sometimes, if we're just focused on the material problems, forget the spirituality, we lose strength. Let's see what else makes us lose strength. When we don't work on our faith. When we forget, problem comes and suddenly I'm just so overwhelmed that I cannot even pray sometimes. I don't know if it ever happened to you, but that's why we have a community, I guess, right? Just telling me that I don't have internet here, I guess. So sometimes we forget that we can ask. Sometimes if you can't pray, my mind is so filled with a lot of problems, ask, give a call, right? Reach out. Somebody or a lot of bodies will help us. I've been there to ask for somebody to help me in moments that were very hard. Otherwise, we lose strength. And then when we cannot see life as a blessing, and that's unfortunately how many we hear that are giving up on life. They think they're giving up. And that's definitely not seeing the problems as opportunities. We lose strength because we get weak. We don't get connected to the high spirits. That's when we gain strength. And then also, remember that idea about one from birth to death, right? Can you imagine birth to death if I live 120 years, right? How can I do everything that I need to do? And that's also something that gives desperation. I mean, if we think, I'm getting older and then that's it. Oh my gosh, there's no time. That's a problem. So we lose the strength. So in this case, what do we see? It was always there, but recently, how many of us know someone who has tried to escape through addictions? What are addictions? When we abuse, we use over and over something or do something continuously, and we cannot get rid of it easily, right? We causes harm. Put some examples there. There are so many others, right? It's easy to think of drinking and smoking and drugs, and there is eating, there is shopping, the internet, we know, and many others. The use of the sexuality in an abusive way, in a way that is not within the range of normal. And why do people get addicted to things? Well, we get addicted because we are anesthetizing ourselves, right? I'm not happy now, I'm going to do this. And then after 10 times, we work on our sensations and not our feelings. When we value the sensation, that pleasure, momentarily, it means that I'm not being someone using my intelligence, because I am just thinking of the body, right? So if I use some kind of medication that, if I need the medication, that's a different story. But I'll say drugs, in general. But beyond that, what is prescribed by the doctor, that is controlled, that's what I mean, right? Because that gives me, okay, when I have that, I sleep for 24 hours. I don't want to think for 24 hours. What am I doing to myself? Am I solving my problems? Am I facing the problems? Am I looking at life as life needs to be looked at? Like with all that glamour that it has? No, I'm just trying to escape from a reality that I don't like right now. Will that last forever? Maybe it can last a whole incarnation. And what do we do with our reincarnation then? We waste it, right? Because we have a free will. I have the free will of wasting a whole incarnation doing nothing to improve. I never regress. I don't know if you remember before we showed there, but I can stop for a long time. And that's not valuing the life that God gave us. Oof, there are so many things we can do to ourselves that gives us the thrill, right? Also sensation. Look at this. We can excite our bodies, the adrenaline, right? Some extreme sports that are very dangerous, that we put our lives in dangers. We need to be aware of that, right? Oh, it can sound very cool, but it is dangerous. And I'm responsible for my life, the life that God gave me. Gave me the life of the Spirit, right? Sometimes people in cruelty, they find this excitement. Sounds weird, right? But it's true. Or violent demonstrations. It's so much indignation, and people get so paralyzed sometimes. I say people, we people, right? You know that. It's not saying they, I'm saying, let's think what if we are in any of these categories. But sometimes, because of, what is indignation? When I hear the bad news and I get like sometimes a whole day, I'm paralyzed, just thinking and think over and over, and that gives me a heartache, it gives me a headache, and I do nothing. I'm there. I'm not looking into how can I make a difference. Maybe I cannot make a difference of changing the world, but I can do something instead of just being in that state with my thoughts crystallized. And then some people go beyond that and go to say, I'm so upset with society, I'm so upset with other people, and they get into violence, right? And not only this violence here, it's very easy to see, to check. What about the violence in social media? Of course, I had to mention social media, right? When somebody writes there something and I completely disagree, do I need to say something? Do I need to go there and say cruel things? It's not only say, oh, I'm sorry, but I disagree. No, it's okay, you can disagree. But some people destroy or try to destroy others. Have you seen that happen at all? Right? So this is not valuing what we have, the possibility. Something very good. The social media can be very powerful to do wonderful things. So again, it's not saying anything bad. It's how we make use of things. That's how we are going to put or not ourselves into situations of danger, of violence, or situations that we can get killed or kill somebody, right? Sometimes people motivate others to do things. I didn't do it, right? Have you seen that happen? Some people completely do everything but they act and leave for somebody else to do it. Well, we have responsibilities to those things too. Well, so we are trying to escape. Remember where we are in this reflection, right? We are trying to escape with different things that give us different sensations. We're not facing our problems. We are being destructive. That's what we are being, if we go there. And then sometimes it goes beyond. Some will be so much into that situation, they start losing track, losing really hope. And when we lose hope, when we don't have the faith, when we don't believe anymore, what happens to what do we think about our lives? How much value we give to our lives? Nothing, right? Because we lose track. We are just completely out of it. And then we feel sometimes it feels we don't have answers, but that's okay, right? Remember, we have tools to do that. Some people get really tired, feel alone. We talked about it. They feel nobody else understands them. Only the obsessors will understand them, right? Be aware. If you start thinking that nobody can understand you, be aware and go and look for help, really, because you need it. Our faith is shaken. This is pretty common, right? We don't have that phase that every single time, every single day is perfect, right? But that's okay. We shake and we stabilize. We shake, we get our community here, say, come on, I'm not well here. Help. And then, but when we can't do that, and instead, look, we talk about the obsessors, but not only discarnated obsessors, right? Not those spirits that, but also people incarnated, as sometimes we start talking, and people like to have a bigger tragedy to talk about. Have you noticed that? If you start talking about something bad, there's always somebody who, I don't have my watch. Okay. They will think that there is something really worse. So in this case, the despair, we want to stop the pain. Have you heard this? That some people that will give up life, it's not that they're thinking of ending their lives, but they want to stop the pain. Of course, it doesn't stop the pain and doesn't end the life. So double problem. Instead, this is a very unsuccessful escape, right? When some of our brothers or sisters decide that they really want to stop the pain, and they will have get to the other side of life and notice that this was an illusion, because we are spirits. We are endless, right? Remember. So we are not going to end. We kill our body, but we cannot kill our spirit. No way. Instead, then we have to deal in this situation with a lot more problems that we cause to ourselves. It's starting from, our perispirit, what is there, what is registered, and how many other incarnations we will need to go through in order to get better. So let's remember this, and let's be really sincere to ourselves. If we ever, don't need to tell anybody, but let's think, have I ever even thought about it? Have I heard a friend of mine to say something that is, a red flag? Because then search for help. We know that. We are talking about this all the time because a lot of people are in despair. And there is no need to be in despair. And there are other ways that people cause themselves a lot of harm. We talk here, obviously, it's a long subject, but the euthanasia, the abortion, death penalty, everything that shortens anybody's lives from the plan from before is going against the plan against God's laws. Only God is responsible for the time we return to the spirituality, right? Every minute of our life is very valuable. So if we know, if we have a family member that is in a situation that needs this extra care for a long time, what happens is the spirit is awake, is thinking, is feeling. The body can be vegetated, but the spirit is not. So that's when the spirit is able to think about the minutes he or she lost during their lifetime, the people that they want to ask for forgiveness. There are many things. 1 minute. Have you tried 1 minute? When we're trying to wait for 1 minute, it takes, now of course time is flying. But if I stop and say, okay, 1 minute, it takes a long time. Because especially how many thoughts can we have in 1 minute? So every minute counts for everyone. There's no reason for us to think of shorten anybody's lives in our lives. Okay, how can we value life? Let's have joy of living, make it lighter. Getting to know all this that we talked about, we know that shall pass, right? We've heard that also, right? Good things pass, bad things too. And if we are able to get the help we need, we can enjoy and know that we are able to do it. We can use our intelligence to resolve problems, right? And some problems cannot be resolved. We use the intelligence to see how we're going to deal with no resolution of the problem. There's no excuse. We can do it, right? Let's live our material life. We are in matter, right? But with moderation, with wisdom, in thinking as a spirit, not as a body, right? Let's switch that. We need to elevate our consciousness. I don't know if you heard about that one, right? We can live as purely bodies, right? Instinct, sensations. We know. We can go to bed, wake up, eat, right? Have sex. We can do, what else? What else we do? Just kind of in the automatic, without even thinking about it. Working, vacation, and just on and on and on without even giving one thought about what we are here for, right? But this means, let's elevate that. Okay, I'm not that. I'm beyond that. I'm not a primitive being anymore, right? I need to move on and elevate the way that I think as that goes beyond the matter. And how do we do this? When we talk about inner transformation that all of you probably heard about, that means to get, remember the GPS, right? If I have a GPS, that's why we're here. We study, we know, those are the clues for us, where I want to get to. Because if I don't know where I want to get to, I'll never get there, right? If I don't type the address in the GPS, I'll be sitting in my car, and I'm not going to get there, right? Same with us here. We have the opportunity of understanding what are the issues that we need to work on. Of course, I need to know myself, right? So the inner transformation is not to try to transform my neighbor, my husband, my kids, right? Because that's what we're good at, right? We always think of ways that this lesson is really good for my husband to hear. I wish he were here, right? This is for myself, right? And when I do that and I think, okay, all the things that we are supposed to do, morally speaking, where am I in this picture? That's the inner transformation. Then I start working on it without really making myself miserable, because we have the time We go day by day, not trying to transform. But look what the gospel says. The true spirits are recognized. Let's see if we're true spirits. By their moral transformation and efforts they make to overcome their evil or bad inclinations. So just to be trying, we can call ourselves spiritists. Isn't that good? God is very good to us. And then we will work on those negative trends that we have, or those that are against those laws of God. And when we see pain and suffering in the world, we know it's transitory. It's that shot that I said to the kids, 2 seconds, boom, goes away, and that kid won't have that disease later on. Isn't that good? Right? So that's why it's transitory. It's an energy imbalance. Let's work on getting the balance back for our health, mental and physical, right? We know we can go through this, and our lives are worth it because we don't stop here. We can go through that. Neutralizing negative influences. Why do I need to listen to that friend that is always putting me down? Is always giving me reasons why my life is miserable, right? No. Friend, incarnate and discarnate, right? So some thoughts come to our mind, go away, right? It's not mine. I don't want to think that way. I want to be positive and work on my inner transformation. So, and we work more in doing good deeds because we always learn about being less selfish. We learned about the prayer. Sometimes the only thing we can do to help someone is to pray for that person. Sometimes there's nothing else, right? But it's a big thing when we can do that. So they come and we neutralize. We focus on our good deeds and help. Okay, so what we learned in summary, that we are body and spirit. So we love our body and we enlighten our spirit. If we work that way, that combination, and think of life that way, things get much easier. Problems are still there, right? We come here not to solve our problems, but to get the strength so we can deal with our problems, correct? That's it. Because we are both. And one sometimes get ahead of us. We need to take care of that. So just for us to leave here with some questions, to food for thought, right? To end, getting to the conclusion before, I don't even know if I have time for questions, but anyway. How are we using our time and resources in this reincarnation? Easy question, right? Very easy. We can think about it at home. If you want, I can send that to you. How are we taking care of our bodies and our spirits? How well do we know ourselves? Are we making the right choices? Have we been postponing our unhappiness? How and how much are we valuing our lives? So with that, thank you very much. I hope that can touch a little bit of our hearts and keep thinking about all this, and let's keep going. Thank you. Huh?
We do have time for questions.
Oh, okay.
5 minutes.
You're kidding me. I did that? Wow. That's good. See, I'm learning, working on it. Any questions or comments or disagreement? You don't need to agree with me, right? Of course, not with me. That's Kardec's, teachings. But, we have our free will, right? Anything?
Tania, why is so hard for us to be able to make this, analyze ourselves, see what things that is affecting us, and be able to move on, to free ourselves from the situation? Why it becomes so hard?
Oh, because, I mean, there are many answers, right? But let's pick one. Guilt. We bring a lot of issues from our past lives that we tend really to get attached to it. We don't remember, but it is in us, it is registered in us. And sometimes we feel that we are not capable of. We put ourselves down. But obviously, that's why we are working on it. And also, we are very proud. That's a big one too. So to admit to myself that I'm making that mistake, or that mistake, or that mistake, right? It's very hard because we people, we tend to still have a lot of this pride. So the moment that we start accepting that and look at ourselves in a different light, like we're talking today, so it's okay. We're learning. Then instead of guilt, instead of pride, we just realize that we are all on the same boat learning. So we don't have to worry about it, right? But you know what? There is one other point there that we learn behavior, right? As we are growing up, we say, no, you can't feel it. Be angry is not good. No. Anger management. You can't feel, right? So when we feel angry about something, what do we tend to do? Internalize. No, Tania, this is ugly. You shouldn't feel that way. What am I doing? I'm just, I'm concealing, I'm disguising to myself, not being sincere. The moment for me to be able to make changes, what should I do? I felt anger, Fred said something, or I'm very angry, right? And why, Tania, why did you feel that way? Yeah, you felt angry. And then if I analyze, oh, he said something to me and then I realized that pride on me, right? Went against to what, these are all examples, right? There are many things, but that for me to be able to change, first I need to let me feel the anger. Then understand why I felt the anger. And what can I do next to work on the reasons why I felt the anger? Does that make sense? Right? But because of all these behaviors that we learned, right? In Spiritism, oh, this is not good. We're working on this. So, and then I realized that I still feel that way, or I still do that way. I pretend to myself that I'm not that person. And then I don't grow. I'm just hiding, right? To me. It's not even conscious sometimes. So I hope I answered your question. It's very complex. But the moment that we start accepting that we are learning, this is a learning process, it's no punishment, right? Some people say, but reincarnation, I don't want to reincarnate again, it's a punishment. No, because it's the opportunity that I have to keep learning. If I think that way, well, I don't punish a second grader if he or she does not know how to read fluently. Do we? Hope not, right? What do? We teach, right? We give another chance. We find a different way, huh? And that's how we should look at ourselves. Second graders in the spirituality. We're learning. So we make a mistake, we try to correct and do better. And then we fall again. Oh, I can't believe it. I did it again, right? That's okay. Next time we do better, and so on and so forth. We can't be anxious, otherwise we'll cause ourselves another problem. Right? Okay?
We only have a chance to go through this path if we accept that we are imperfect.
Yes.
I'm talking about me.
Yeah. True.
And the society we live in the earth, not here exactly,
Uh-huh.
tells us that we have to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
We can't fail, and we have to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Not angry, never.
Mm.
So it's difficult to stop like this and see
Yeah.
beside us and find a lot of bad news.
Yeah.
Or just accept what you said, right? You said that the road you have some bumps.
Yeah.
Then accept that your road you have some bumps. How you react with the bumps
Exactly.
is the key of success, right?
Exactly right. So yeah, it's imperfect world. How come I want a perfect husband? A perfect, right? How am I going to? I'm not perfect, right? So the moment that we see that, and we know that life will bring also a lot of issues that we'll deal with, it takes a big weight from our back, because then we are not trying to be who we are not, and we are not trying to look at the other and have an expectation that's completely out of question, right? Because that's what we do. The relationships problems, they are caused by wrong expectations, right? I think that way I meet, what's her name? Julia. I meet Julia and we start talking, and I'm thinking with my mind here, right? My thoughts, my beliefs. And then Julia says something to me and I go, oh, so she's not the person that I thought she was, right? What is that? Of course she's not the person that I thought she was. She's Julia, right? Julia is a universe. She has all her thoughts, all her feelings, all her expectations. So I was learning the other day that we say something, or take it back. We don't listen to a question. We listen thinking about our answer. So the person is saying, before I even she ends I already have my answer. How can we interact that way? How can we have relationships
And
this
also,
way?
I'm not the person that I think I am.
Yeah, we are learning about
Because I
ourselves.
think I'm nice, and sometimes that can be like jealous, that can be this, and I don't see that.
Yeah,
So it's like we need to understand that we are not really the person that we think we are,
yeah.
100%. We have problems, we have things that we have to improve, but sometimes we think I'm better than the others.
Yeah.
They are not like that, but sometimes I'm the one
Uh-huh.
that needs to improve.
That's true. You know what? We have what you said about we are not who we think we are. It's very true, because we only know, right, when the trial comes, right, the test. Sometimes go like, wow, who is this person, right? Why did I act like that? Because that's me, right? While things are smooth, it's easy to be smooth, right? The moment that's rough, the reaction. You said that. You have a comment?
Yeah, don't mean to keep it longer, but I do have one question. You mentioned euthanasia and the fact that God is the only one who decides when you're going to go from this world.
Yes.
Spiritual world. Now, currently with the advances in technology in the medical field,
Mm-hmm.
one is capable of maintaining a life of a person.
Yes.
So, in your opinion, is there a fine line there that this needs to be defined?
Uh-huh.
Meaning, not ending before time, but at the same time, not forcing it to stay longer?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question, by the way, because there is what we call euthanasia. There is also, let me see if I get right. Dystonasia and orthonasia, if I'm not incorrect.
I think there's a legal term also called advanced directive.
When what happens is sometimes if you're just a person died, literally, and you just keep pumping the heart, the person is not alive anymore, right? It's something. So it's when you start making that effort to keep the person, and that goes beyond. It's a very hard. Now, I'm not here to give you the exact answer in when, right? But it is all related to looking at the situation, right? There's other terms, and I promise you, I'm going to look at the term, help me remember, Chris, which is, one is when the opposite of euthanasia, which means instead of keep it short, you keep making that person stay just because of the machines, and the person, the brain is not alive anymore. It's not, the person is not there, the spirit is not even there anymore, and you just keep going. It's very hard for us to find that right time. That's why when we are connecting to the spirituality, right, they will help us make these choices. It's the point there is not, let's make it easier for us to understand the point that I was trying to make. It is about looking at somebody vegetating there, and we look in coma, or that person is really, what we feel, person is suffering. We are suffering more than the person, but person is suffering, the family is suffering. So let's stop the suffering. That's the kind of situation that we definitely, it's not in our hands just to say, that's the time. We don't even know, right? I've seen people after 15 years in a coma coming back to regular life. We hear that. So I think the point is, let's really think as spirits, and that spirit is taking advantage of their life. Life is valuable no matter what, including the life of those people, kids, sometimes that they are, for us, their kid is doing no function in the sense of not talking or walking or thinking, not doing. They're thinking, yeah, because it's the spirit that thinks. In other words, we look at everybody's life from the womb to all those last minutes in life. Every minute counts, and we have to be very careful when we are in that very hard situation of making decisions.
So it's the difference between interrupting life or letting life take its course.
Yeah.
Right, so they said artificial support, we're artificially keeping the body alive.
Yes.
Nature is not taking its course.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing, euthanasia, is interrupting the process
Yeah.
that maybe is necessary for the person.
The euthanasia, there are countries now that you can, for whatever reason, you don't even need to be ill, terminal ill. You can just get there and say, oh, I got that, any reason, I want to kill myself, but I don't want to do that myself. And there are countries that will do that. So see how it goes from one extreme to another extreme, right? So let's think about it. Let's pay attention. Or we remove all the machines and the person continues alive. Wow, let's keep feeding that person. Let's keep taking care of that person. It's not fun, it's not easy, and we are not in it. Remember, any situation by chance. So if a member of our family is in that situation, it's a trial, it's a problem that all of us are there to help each other, to go through and learn from it. Everything that happens is for learning. Okay?
Thank you, Tania.
Thank you.